Hello, this is Paul Cole, Sr. with SuperGen Products Technical Videos for YouTube. Today we're going to do a valve adjustment procedure, which is a part of your maintenance obligation to keep your generator tip-top and running well. A valve adjustment allows you to reset the clearance in case the valves have gotten tight over 200 or 300 hours of use. We recommend it about every 250 hours to check that clearance. Now, it may need adjustment, it may not, but it's always an important maintenance step to be sure your generator is running at the best optimal compression inside the engine. So, in order to do that, we have to remove the cover on top of the engine, and most of them you'll see the names or the letters CTE stamped into the cover you need to remove. That cover has oil inside of it from Splash that's designed to lubricate the valve train. On this 196cc engine, we remove it with 4 bolts. Some of them have a single bolt. Each valve cover will have a little different attachment. This one here has 4 bolts on it. So I'm going to loosen them all up. And then I'm going to remove that cover. Underneath that cover is where we're going to need to do the adjustment or setting. Take your bolts off, keep them together. There's a valve cover gasket on all of these valve covers. Many of them are neoprene, some of them are cork. You won't necessarily need a replacement on hand once you take it off. If you're going to do a valve adjustment and you want to have an extra valve cover gasket, it doesn't hurt. Just contact us and we can arrange to get you a gasket. You may also want to have a service center do your valve adjustment if you're not too technically savvy to do this. So now I have the 4 bolts out. I'm going to remove this cover. You'll see the cover, and it's got a really nice neoprene gasket for sealing. Now, through this cover, which is an important tool, the engine breathes. You'll see a breather hole on the inside, and in doing so, it's got a little diaphragm that opens and closes every time the engine breathes in and breathes out, and then it filters out through this exhaust hole in the cover and goes into the air filter, so it's part of the emission system as well. It recycles the fumes that are created within the engine back through the carburetor. So we're going to set that down there. Now, underneath that cover you're going to see a rocker arm assembly. And each of these rocker arms will rotate up and down. Let me just hit the starter button once so you can see it move. And what they're doing is they are opening and closing the intake valve for fuel and the exhaust valve to let the exhaust out of the engine once it's exploded. So these open and close repeatedly thousands of times every minute. So there's a certain amount of wear over a couple hundred hours of use that might make these tight, what they call tight. And the clearance of the valves will generally involve using a component called a feeler gauge. And that feeler gauge is 7/1000ths of an inch thick. And it's got to fit in a space between the valve and the rocker arm. I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is quite critical. If you take, I'm going to give you the simple method because the complicated method wouldn't work. The reason being on these engines is they use a camshaft decompression release that allows the engine to spin freer on initial pulling. Otherwise, if it did not decompress, you couldn't hardly pull the engine over. And that decompression cycle would affect the valve clearance setting on the exhaust valve, is where the decompression cycle is designed on the camshaft. So I'm going to take the rope and manually pull it. The valve compresses at the top, and you'll see it rocker down and compress that valve spring. Okay, when this one is down, this one is up. So to do the proper and simple adjustment, you want to compress one of the valves and adjust the other one. Or compress this one, the intake, and adjust the exhaust. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that feeler gauge and see if it will go in between the valve and the rocker arm. This one will. You can bring that in there a little closer if you want to get a better view. And you'll see this is where the feeler gauge goes. 7 thousandths, 6 to 7 thousandths is a good setting. You can adjust them both the same. You know, everybody says, well, the intake needs to be tighter than the exhaust. Well, maybe, maybe not. 6 or 7 thousandths is a safe setting, and it will never create any headaches for you. So once I'm able to know that that clears in there, then I know my setting is good. Okay? Now, if I needed to adjust it so that it would clear, maybe I can't get it in there. You loosen the nut and turn the screw right here on the top. Loosen the lock nut, turn the screw clockwise to tighten it if it's extra loose, or counterclockwise to loosen it. With the ultimate setting, being able to get that 7 thousandths feeler gauge in there once I've tightened the nut. Now when you tighten the nut, you've got to hold the screw as well so it doesn't change. And when you tighten the nut, it's going to give you a minor change. So you want to check it after you've tightened it. And if you find that it's too loose or too tight, then you got to compensate with that bolt before you tighten the nut. Because tightening the nut stresses the bolt and will change the clearance ever so lightly. Ultimately, like I say, you need to be able to get that in there. Once that's been removed, by simply going up and down, or let's say in and out, you're going to feel a little bit of clearance. It's going to be ever so minute. You may think it's not much, but it don't take much. Okay, so that one is good. Now, we're going to take a hold of the rope, and we're going to do the other valve. We're going to compress the intake, and once we do that, we'll know the exhaust is up. So if you watch it, you'll see it move. Okay, now it's compressing. Oops, a little too far. I'm going to go back around again. You can also take the spark plug out if you want a little bit more freedom to move it easily. Okay, so now this intake valve is down. I'm going to go over to the exhaust valve. I'm going to get my feeler gauge in place and see how that fits up in there. Okay, that goes up in there fine. Okay, so we know we've got a good setting at that. If we need to adjust it, keep in mind, if you can't get it in, you've got to make the valve adjustment clearance looser. You loosen the lock nut, take a screwdriver, put it in the screw slot, and back it up very little. And then lock the bolt down, or the nut down, check your clearance again. A little drag on the 7 thousandths is good. Once you know that it will go in there, you know you have at least a 7 thousandths clearance. Now, if you should have too much clearance on the exhaust, it will affect how the decompression system functions, and it may pull hard. So Too much clearance on the exhaust valve will make the decompression work hard. It may even make the electric starter labor the engine during starting. If you pull start it, you may not be able to pull it at all with too much clearance. 6, 7, 8 thousandths isn't going to pose a problem. Start getting up 9, 10, 11 or greater, you'll lose the decompression function to the valve. That is basically your valve clearance setting, and you'll notice that the feeler gauges, which are available at auto supplies, will generally have a bend in the end so that you can get underneath there quite easily. If you have it straight, you can't get it in there, so they put a little bend into it so that you have an easier way of getting it in place. Okay? And that is basically all there is to doing a valve adjustment. If you've got a multi-cylinder engine, you're going to do the same thing, only with each cylinder. If you ever have any questions on this, don't hesitate to call. Our phone number is 18-generator, which is 843 area code 637-2867. Now it is a South Carolina number, but we're located in Los Angeles, in New York. So don't let that throw you a curve. We got that number to fit our business model, and 18-generator is a good application for it. It's easy to remember. We try to put a label on the outside of the tanks with our number, or on the chassis. If it's a refurbished unit, it'll have a label that has our direct phone number on it. Don't hesitate to use it. It's active 24/7. If we don't call you right back, give us a few minutes, we will. If you haven't received a call in 20 minutes, then go ahead and make the call again. Feel free to do so. A lot of times we're already on the line. Sometimes it's the middle of the night. Sometimes we're getting calls from overseas. So just make the call and we will not fail to reply. Appreciate your time today. Be sure you subscribe to our YouTube videos. You'll get new ones as they come on the market. Have a good day.